So I'm not a YouTuber or a vlogger, so you'll have to bear with me on the quality of my video. But I did want to go over how I install a angle kit on the new Edge or an SN95, same chassis. And a lot of this will also work for a Fox body. So I'm doing a Jan Duncan, Steve Mass, WISEFOX Stage 3 kit. Most of the angle kits that you get for a Mustang or for these year models are probably going to require the same modifications. But so yeah, you can find their stuff at duncanperformance.com or reach them at the FMC Drift Facebook page. So that stands for Ford Motor Company Drift. A lot of good information there on how to turn your Mustang into a drift car. And I wanted to go over my process. So of course everything's already taken apart. That's the easy bit. And took a wire wheel and cleaned up where I'm going to cut and marked out just the basic outline of where to cut. So I think on a Fox body you don't have to cut this section, but on a SN95 you do. Where the control arm comes up, you got to clear it so it can come up. And then of course I'm going to leave this bracket where it's welded, but I'm going to cut close to it and then cut and follow this line behind here down, and just nice and flush with the frame area. Gonna cut that off. I do use just a cheap plasma cutter. It's been working good. Some of the stuff to use, make sure you got a fire extinguisher, face shield. Old helmet works good for a face shield. Welding mask for using the plasma cutter. A couple of big hammers, pry bar, pliers, different cutoff wheels and grinders. And what I like to do is take a cutoff wheel and scribe, see if you can see that, scribe where I'm going to cut. It makes it easier to follow with the plasma cutter, and it just makes it cut through a lot easier. So that's just kind of the basic outline right there. And it'll be a rough cut, and then I'll just go back and clean it up with the grinder and flat disc and make it look nice. And you will have this spring perch underneath here. It'll basically get kind of cut in half, and then you wiggle this part off till the metal breaks, and then grind all that down. And I like to try to cover, I have these little heat shield things, you can use some foil or something, but I like to try to cover my brake line and just in between these areas to keep the sparks down. So I'm gonna get everything going. See how it follows the frame, and all we gotta do is clean it up, make it look nice. Alright, so after hitting it up with the grinding disc, moved to a flap disc, and got everything nice and smooth. Spend as much time as you want making sure everything is nice and clean and looks good. And I like to weld that part up right there, that little seam. Usually you can't see it because of the curve that's on there. So I like to weld that up. But yeah, everything comes out nice and clean. Looks good. Once it gets all painted, you'll never even notice anything was done. I gotta change that bolt out for the factory style. That looks weird. But there you go. And it is basically right there what you're cutting out. There's a section right there. This side just has a few more brake lines, so I take the rivet out right there so I can move the brake lines over and unclip them. And then usually I'll just take the piece that I cut from one side and bring it over here. And yeah, it's probably actually mirrored like that, but you can see I've done it enough times to where it basically matches up with the lines. So I'll just cut it right where it is.